member of Ecclesia here, and a lot of our brethren aren't here today, refused to come. And I don't think it's a question of how many baptisms that you perform, it's with the speed of that they're performed at. And I'm a new brother, about a year and a half, so I have a lot of questions. And of course, many of them say, well, ask Duncan scripturally where it says that, you can baptize so quickly, and these sort of things.
Well, that's a gift of a question. Where does the Bible say you can baptize quickly? Whoa.
Acts chapter 2.
I mean,
Day of Pentecost.
the day of Pentecost would be a big time. I mean, Peter talks, and I accept he may have said more than is recorded in the Acts 2 record. And the people said, and what must we do? He said, repent and be baptized. So they were baptized the same day. And the Acts record emphasizes immediate baptism. I mean, the jailer in Philippi, I mean, all of us would have said, look, wait a minute, there's an earthquake, the place is falling down, there's falling masonry. Let's just clear this up and let's, do the baptism. But no, straight away. Thessalonians. Paul was 3 Sabbath days in Thessalonica. And he says to the Thessalonians, don't you remember that while I was with you, I was working night and day because you didn't support me. I had to work night and day to support myself and those who were with me because Timothy was sick. Well, 3 Sabbath days is, well, how many hours teaching, I wonder, was that? Not that much. And don't forget, most of these people were illiterate. With illiterate people, it's a whole different ballgame. You can't say, well, follow this up in your Bibles. They didn't have a Bible. And so he baptized them after 3 Sabbath days, and then lo and behold, he's writing his letters to the Thessalonians, saying, dry your eyes, some of your people have died, and you're all crying and weeping, they're going to be resurrected. Oh, really? Oh. And you come to Corinth, I mean, please. I mean, the situation there was, certainly not the BASF, let's put it that way. So there is, it's a gift of a question to say, where do you get a biblical precedent for quick baptisms? Well, all the way through the Acts of the Apostles. The question would be, well, where do you get the precedent for slow baptisms? That said, people are not stupid. People do not just agree to a relative stranger seeing them undress and seeing this relative stranger submerge them in water. One of the baptisms we do are, say, in hotel rooms. You meet a guy, by arrangement, and you have a chat, something to eat. Go to the hotel room, because a lot of people only got showers in their flats in Eastern Europe. You go to a hotel that's got a bathtub, and the person undresses, and you immerse them in the bathtub. I don't think anyone would do that. I'd say it's axiomatic. It's obvious that no one would actually do that unless they were fairly deeply convicted with a fairly deep level of knowledge before you went ahead with that. Why would you do that? Why would you get a bus or a train to meet up with a foreigner at such and such a location and go into the guy's hotel room and let him immerse you in water if you totally don't know anything? I would say that axiomatically that is not the case. And also, why baptisms, I think, used to take longer, I don't mean that holding them under the water for longer, I mean why the period of instruction used to take longer is because people, as I said, had to come along to a series of lectures to get their knowledge. And you went, one week it was about the devil, the next week it was about the unity of God, the next week it was about no pre-existence, the next week it was the promises to Abraham, and you went through this whole thing. Now, you can give a guy the Bible basics, give him an NEV Bible, the commentary, and you can read it. If you start reading a good book, a book that you like, you keep reading it, right? You can get it off the internet. You know what do you see these days? Everybody with these terrible things, looking at these phones all the time. Well, you can pick up the knowledge that you would earlier have only got through attending months of lectures. You can pick that up in 2 or 3 days off these terrible things. Or, looking at stuff on your phone, reading a book that's got it all under one cover. So, the speed is not necessarily because we are just walking up to some random guy on the street and saying, "Hey, you want to be baptized? Come this way." You try and do that, people will say, "What?" Or like call the cops or something. People that is facile, quite honestly, to suggest that we're doing that. And you wouldn't make any converts anyway. You just walk up to some random guy on the street and say, "Hey, you want to accept Jesus Christ? Get baptized, mate?" You'd be like, "No." You wouldn't get a single convert. I would say, as I say, that it is axiomatic that somebody who comes to want to be immersed in water has got a motivation for doing that. And even if they are dirt poor, even if they are not dirt poor, it's all the same. You do not do that. Baptism by its nature is a conscious act that involves getting wet, that involves changing your clothes, that involves having to plan it. Where shall we do it? In your bathtub, in the river, meet you at the beach. That's my response to that question, which I think is a fair enough question. I think the other reason why it takes a long time for some people to baptize people is that, I fear to say this, but it is effectively, baptism is seen as an induction into the Christadelphian community. And therefore you have got to learn the culture and the bylaws all the way through. Well, I just don't see in the New Testament, I don't for the life of me see that was the case. Learning a culture and bylaws, no. I don't see it. Brian.
You've indicated how they acquire the knowledge. How do you ascertain yourself that they have a correct understanding or sufficient understanding?
Have a chat. Well, again, why would a person, and we are mainly dealing with secular people, why would a secular person wish to be baptized? It is apparent that they have quite a lot of knowledge, or else they would not say to you, "I would like to be baptized." In other words, what I'm saying is that the idea that, all these people, they didn't know nothing. No, that doesn't follow. It's no. And when Jim says, seeing people coming out of absolutely secular people just breaking down in tears after they've been baptized, well, they must have had some level of belief and understanding for that to happen. Now, I'm not saying that tears on cheeks is evidence of anything in one sense. What I'm saying is that to say, well, I didn't know anything. And as I said, summing up, we talk about all those baptisms. I have travelled right across the Christadelphian spectrum in my own thinking, and I know what the thinking is about baptism. And yeah, I'm not saying that every one of them would be accepted in all Christadelphians. No, not all of them would. But a lot of them would. Now, what percentage can vary from 10%, with the very conservatives who wouldn't even consider me to be a brother, would vary from 10% up to 100%. But you're dealing with a lot of people. And we're not frightened to make mistakes, as you can see. Rick.
I just have one, few, but talking about all the baptisms, like 10,000 baptisms.
No, that's over 35
or whatever,
years. That's over 35 years.
And like in my experience, my own life experience, I need an ecclesia, and mainly because I need support. Even though I've been a Christadelphian for I don't know how many years.
49,
Now
50.
49 or 50. Well, my great grandfather was a Christadelphian, so basically forever. And I need an ecclesia. Like I need Al. Like I need him, right?
Yeah.
So, and in the Acts and all through preaching the gospel, Paul and Barnabas and Epaphroditus, all these people, they established ecclesias, and they went to those ecclesias to strengthen them and to encourage them. That was in my thinking. And maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. I don't know.
No, absolutely.
But I need an
Absolutely.
ecclesia, and I think some of the people that you probably baptize are out there on their own somewhere, wherever they may be, right? And some of them are going through really hard times, and they need it. And so that's what I kind of can't get through my head. Like how many ecclesias have been established? Like I mean that's and how many are getting the support they need through all the trials and troubles.
Yeah, I mean, we are not anti-ecclesias. We are pro following the biblical pattern of establishing churches or ecclesias. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
All we can say is that people come to the Lord Jesus and to baptism into him because they've been led and called by God, and he seems to use us to pick up the waifs and strays. If you read in the Carelinks messages, you'll see that we're considering going to a little rocky outcrop of an island called Mayotte near Madagascar, where a bunch of refugees have managed to sail from Africa onto this little island. Well, there's no churches much there. There's certainly no Christadelphian ecclesia. God knew what he was doing. It's not the way, we would say, oh, well, if you want to call this person Lord, make the person emigrate to, I don't know, Canada or somewhere, and then send them along to an ecclesia.
well, that's not what I'm
But
saying.
that's not
right?
what he's doing.
But I'm saying that these people, are they encouraged, like if there's more than one or two of them, are they encouraged
Oh, absolutely.
to develop a support group?
Absolutely.
Ecclesial, and that's, I'm not expecting you to send them to
Absolutely.
wherever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We would not discourage them. We wouldn't say, now look, there's 2 or 3 of you baptised in this town. Now, don't meet with each other, will you?
Yeah.
No, we obviously
No,
not. We're not, obviously so. What I would observe, though, is that a lot of people we're all wired differently. And a lot of those sort of secular people who come to us for baptism are damaged baggage out of religion, and the sort of people who at some point in their life have sworn, I will never go into a church in my life. It's not easy with people like that. And that's where the internet is a great thing, because people can have some level of wider association through Skype, whatever, Facebook or whatever it might be. But you shouldn't think that we are against it. Absolutely not. I mean, in Riga, where we live, there's a thriving ecclesia.
Yeah, I know that, yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, Bill.
I would just say in North America, there are brothers and sisters, for whatever reason, live in isolation. They occasionally show up at gatherings or Bible school. Their faith seems to be vibrant. Nobody's saying that they should suddenly move to Toronto. So I think people of certain attitudes can survive in semi-isolation.
Yeah, we're all wired differently. Some people are hermits, and thanks to the internet, unfortunately, I think that individualism is going crazy in the Western world, and everybody is, going into themselves. In the UK, there's a phenomenon of pubs shutting down. And in the old days, it was like a pub culture. You went out to the pub, not to get drunk, but you went out to the pub to play darts, to play chess, have a beer, to chat. The pubs are shutting down. Because you go to the internet, you go to the supermarket, you buy your beer or whatever you want to do, you go home, and you rent a movie, and you watch it. And that's why people can't seem to have relationships these days, because they're all sitting behind their screens. Now, we go out into that world, which is full of what I would call individualism gone crazy. We're offering people the gospel. Oh yeah, they like the idea of it. Yeah, this makes sense, man. Yeah. But the next step of come out somewhere, oh no. Maybe it's different here, but in Europe, including the UK, at big time, very big time, the pubs are shutting down. All over the place. Even going out to eat at restaurants are shutting down. Because you can call up your pizza, call up your whatever you want. It will be delivered to your place. Don't go out. So people are going out to work and working at home and sitting behind these things. This is the problem, the screens. I say the problem, whether we like it or not, this is how society is. And when those sort of people then encounter the gospel and want to get baptized, well, if you're going to predicate baptism upon going along to the ecclesia, you're probably not going to get them. What I'm saying is take the gospel to them, persuade them of God's truth, yeah, baptize them. And hopefully with maturity, they come to see that just sitting in glorious isolation in my house, in my apartment, that's not the way to go. That's not real life. Come out to the ecclesia. But I'm saying that if you insist that you've got to come out to a meeting before we'll kind of talk to you, before we'll teach you, you're not going to get very many people, because people don't do that. When I was a kid in the UK, there were stamp collectors clubs. There were gardening clubs. And you went to the library to a stamp collectors club. I thought I was such a big boy when I went to the stamp collectors club. Full of these old blokes, you know, with their stamps, very learned, talking about the stamps. There's no stamp collectors clubs these days. You belong to a Facebook group, or whatever it is, an online forum, to talk about the stamps. I don't think people collect postage stamps anymore, but you know what I'm saying. All that is a thing of the past. Go out to the community centre. The community centre's shutting down in Europe because, well, people don't go out. So we're up against, in Western society, that's what we're up against. And we can lament it. But if we just lament it and say, well, you know, lament the state of the nation, this used to be a decent country, as my dear mother always used to be saying before she died. You know, you keep on saying, well, you know, things have gone downhill. But the fact is, this is how it is. Now, Jim's tapping his watch. I don't quite know what he means by that, but I think he means he's going to wind his watch up or something. Anyway, put your written question.